It's done, folks. New York has fallen. Zorhan Mondoni's rainbow-faced, velvet-suited, and clinically unhinged ass has just seized control. They just greenlit the documentary. Title: Escape from New York 2025. Spoiler alert, nobody escapes. Zorhan Mondoni's policies are so hostile to wealth. The Hamptons just applied for refugee status. Wall Street's converting to barter. And the last hedge fund manager was seen trading Rolexes for canned beans. Give it 6 months, and New York's gonna look like Cuba with worse cigars and mandatory drag tribunals. We'll have to wall it off, not to keep people out, but to keep the ideology from leaking into Jersey. Zorhan calls it economic liberation. The IRS will call it a crime scene. I'm not done taking my shots yet, so bear with me. Newly elected Attorney General Jay Jones. Yes, that Jay Jones. The one who called for the death of Republican children, supports abortion up to the 9th month, and somehow still got elected. Virginia didn't just flip, it went full retard.
You went full retard, man. Never go full retard.
And that's why the Alamo State has once again become the Alamo for all Americans, not just Texans, not just patriots, but anyone still clinging to the idea that freedom isn't negotiable. At what point do we start talking about it seriously? Not as a meme, not as a headline, but as a warning, because the hardened left states aren't just drifting, they've begun practicing ideological substitution, and in some cases, symbolic Sharia. Michigan's got Arabic language police patches. Minnesota's testing cultural accommodations that look a lot like soft Sharia. California, Illinois, New York. They're not enforcing Islamic law, but they're bending constitutional norms to appease imported absolutism. This isn't about religion. It's about ideology, about regimes that don't negotiate, that don't compromise, that don't believe in your constitution, your culture, or your right to dissent. You don't roll this kind of thing back with a town hall. You don't fix it with a vote. You confront it. You defeat it. Because if you've ever dealt with a narcissist, you know there's no reasoning with someone who believes they're morally entitled to your silence. This isn't civil strife anymore. It's ideological warfare. And the longer we pretend it's just politics, the more ground we lose. The more cities fall, the more flags change, the more laws bend. You want to know where the dumbest of the dumb reside? Look at the states that elected leaders who call for the death of political children and legalize abortion at 9 months. Look at the ones who trade liberty for virtue signaling and call it progress. And while they burn, Texas becomes the firewall. The Alamo again, not just for Texans. For anyone who still believes freedom isn't negotiable. So while the hardened left states spiral into ideological cosplay, while Michigan sinks deeper into the glitter gulag, some folks are making moves. Real moves. Strategic moves. Congratulations to Andrew and the entire family on a successful escape from the cesspool of Michigan to the firewall of Texas. All that hard work, all that grit, it's paying off. You didn't just relocate, you upgraded. Let's talk about Coach Carter. The man, the myth, the meltdown. 9 years of hurt feelings, unresolved trauma, and a debate performance so fragile, it didn't need a microphone. It needed a Snuggie, a box of Kleenex, and a pint of whatever ice cream pairs best with Desperate Housewives of whatever the fuck. This man didn't just lose a debate. He emotionally evacuated. And if your faith in God was so shakable that your ex-wife made you turn from your maker, then it must really piss you off to know how much dick you pay her to run through in alimony. Andrew didn't just beat you. He let you talk yourself into defeat. You walked in with talking points and walked out with a therapy bill. It wasn't a debate. It was a demolition. And the only thing you coached was how to publicly implode in under 5 minutes. Buckle up. What you're about to witness is a full-blown shit show. A sad individual trying to rationalize his own stupidity in real time. No prep, no logic, just raw, unfiltered collapse. Coach Carter, the worst bad faith debater of all time, walks into the arena with nothing but recycled talking points and a face that tells the story before his mouth catches up. At times, you can literally see the panic behind the eyes, like a man realizing mid-sentence that he's losing to his own echo. This isn't debate, it's NPC Theater. He should have stayed in his lane, making trash content for the simple-minded and bots to consume. Because NPCs are people too, and even they deserve better than this. This wasn't a clash of ideas. It was a live demonstration of ideological rot. And the only thing Coach Carter proved is that if you talk long enough, you'll expose the hollowness of everything you stand for. And I personally think you're a midget bitch. Enjoy.
Okay, so that's lower.
Yes.
Okay, that's all you got. Now, here's
That's
the
all I
problem.
need.
That's not all you need because there's still risk. How do you?
Nobody said there wouldn't be risk.
Exactly.
You
So
can't
at this
mitigate
particular
risk
point-
for anything 100%. It's not possible.
Exactly. So now why are we telling men to get married?
Because you have to, because everything is a cost-benefit analysis. Your issue's not marriage. Your issue is with mitigating the
At
risk.
this point, it's not marriage.
It's
This is the only.
mitigating-
Hold on for a second. Can I say this?
Oh my God. Can you
Hold
ever
on for a
stop
second.
saying something so I
Come on,
can say
listen.
something?
At this particular point, listen.
Okay, I'm
You're
listening.
telling me from this point, we haven't even got to the entire marriage because you're still over in the land of make-believe. We haven't even got to the other issues
What's
of marriage.
make-believe?
Hold on for a second. We still haven't got to the other issues of marriage.
I'm willing to
so
get to
you're
everything.
telling me about the mitigation risk, and we've wasted too much time on it. Can we talk about the other issues of marriage?
Well,
Which
okay.
are sexless
Can we
marriage.
at least wrap this up?
Yeah,
Please.
let Andrew finalize this, and then
Yeah,
we'll move on
so
to that.
the thing is like, the problem is you said it was a great institution. If you say it's a great institution, even when it was a great institution, people were still getting divorced. So if that's the case, what you're really after is just mitigating risk. And I'm giving you a perfect way to mitigate risk, right? And the fact of the matter is that it is becoming more and more popular to do it this way. Prenup plus ecclesiastical authority almost mitigates your risk entirely, except for common law, but you can pick the state to live in for that. And you, by your own logic, can't defer from common law either. You can't protect men from that. So the thing is like, you can't have it both ways. You can't agree marriage is good and the backbone for the West and you really like it and it's fucking great and it's a great institution, but also don't do it because it's make-believe that you can mitigate risk even though you can right this second. That's insane.
Listen,
All right, final
I'm
point.
listening.
final point. Let's get to the other risks that are associated with it. We got that.
That's
we
not a
tackled
final
that.
point on this.
That is
Make the final point and then go to
listen.
that.
I'm a grown man. I'm not 22-year-old OnlyFans. I'm going to say what I want to say. Listen to this. At this particular point,
You got
we're
me
moving
on that
forward.
one.
Listen, we're moving forward.
Okay, we're moving
At
forward.
this point, what are the other risks that we want to guard against? We got the divorce. You're going to put them on the ecclesiastic paperwork. Less people are doing that. Not a lot of people know how to do it. He just got married. He didn't do it. All right, I can almost guarantee.
Probably not.
Exactly.
So what?
So now, less people are going to do this. Not a lot of people know that. Not a lot of men are going to
So it
prepare
sounds like we
themselves to
should
do
try to
that.
change that, huh?
Exactly. So that would be
I
a
agree.
very tough
We should
scenario,
try to
and
change it.
most likely it's not going to happen moving forward.
Okay.
There are other issues in marriage
Okay, let's
that
get to 'em.
typically, if depending on what authority you go under, are still a risk for men. Yes, it's great for the backbone, but a lot of men are in sexless marriages. A lot of women are in sexless marriages. The percentage of affairs in marriages are still a big issue. That can't be addressed.
Oh.
Those risks are going to be tough. And now you have an issue because now whoever's your authority has to mitigate that risk. Now all of a sudden they have to govern or socially pressure the women, and that's going to be difficult to do. 20%, 30% of sexless marriages, 20-30% of people having affairs. This is not the intent of people who get married. So yes, we have the divorce. We set that aside. Now, what about within the marriage? How do you mitigate the risk for that? I'm assuming you're going to have the ecclesiastic come through the home and force the wives to fuck their husbands.
Oh, that's quite the straw man. But
I'm assuming.
I'll go ahead and answer. Actually, the ecclesiastical authority does mitigate against this, and here's my proofs. Proof one. If it is the case that you get married to a woman who's a virgin, but she's a virgin because she's a Christian, hang on, let me get through the entirety of the argument before you start freaking out. If it is the case,
Virgins.
your chances of that marriage ending, very, very, very small, one. And two, they report that they have a happier sex life. This is actually the case with the decrease in body count, which generally comes with the more religious people, meaning the more that you take your religion seriously, the more that you pray, the more that you engage in that whole ecclesiastical authority thing, the less likely it is you step out of your marriage, significantly less likely. The less likely it is that you end up in a sexless marriage. You know why? Because there's a reinforcement in Christianity that men and women are not allowed to deprive each other of that, of sex, when it comes to marriage. And you find that people who follow the traditional faith generally don't. And so, yes, the ecclesiastical authority preaches that from the pulpit. Sorry, lady, you got to fuck your husband. That's part of God's law. Yeah. What do you got for him? Go out and just fuck everybody? What are you going to do to mitigate? By the way, you're at the mercy of the same criticism. You can't mitigate guys' girlfriends from fucking around on them any more than you could a person's wife. You can't mitigate them stepping out on them. You can't mitigate them treating them like shit. You can't do anything. At least I have a mitigation here. You have nothing. You have nothing. Just liberal degeneracy. Give me something you could do that would give any kind of fail-safe against this. One thing.
I don't know what communities you live in, but your church pastor is going to be very busy walking in all of these bedrooms, preventing divorce and enforcing women to sleep with their husbands. Now, the first leap of faith that you have, hold on for a second. Oh, I heard you. The first leap of faith is virgin. Okay, if we look at the stats, please pull up the stats of how many women qualify as a virgin.
On virginity.
You said virginity. I'm just letting you know. You brought it up.
In America?
Now, in America, what women percentage qualify as virgins? All right, so you're going to say very few. So you know this.
7%, age 22 to 34.
7%.
Yep.
Okay.
Do you know what?
We have.
Do you know what a baseline for an argument is?
That was the baseline.
Yeah.
You want to say now? Do we want to increase the body count?
Yeah,
because if you're looking,
that was the whole point of the baseline of the argument.
So right now, if we can pull up how many women in Gen Z, because this is marital age women, would have a body count lower than 5.
No,
because
millennials are also marriageably aged. What do you mean?
Okay, millennials, younger millennials. Okay, because there's no point in older people getting married. They're not procreating. All right, they're going to have 1 or 2 kids.
Older
that doesn't help
people
us.
Procreate.
Not that much. All right,
That's
they're going to have 1 or 2 kids. All right,
thing-
listen, it said in the Bible, in your Bible, it says be fruitful and multiply, not add. All right, we're not adding one little autistic kid. We're multiplying.
That would be multiplying.
No, it wouldn't be multiplying.
Yes,
having
it would.
one little bright ass kid.
If you have 3 and you have 1 more, that's
all right,
multiplying.
However, multiplying by 1. All right, that's
So
not an answer.
multiplying.
Okay, listen. We're multiplying by multiples. You know what I'm talking about. Now listen.
Yeah, that is a multiple.
Hold on for a second. You want to convince me that there's going to be women of low body count in this secular world we live in to make your scenario work, to enforce women to have sex with their husband from the pulpit. Yeah. Do you see? Yeah. This is very strange.
Well, I have all the data to back mine. Show me
from a very small percentage. I mean, it works in a podunk town. I don't know where you're from. We're talking about the metropolises. We're talking about major cities.
And how is your plan going to mitigate that? How is your plan going to mitigate that?
I don't know if you remember. I asked you. All right,
and I told you.
And you came back with virgins.
No.
And you came back with enforcing sex from the pulpit. Why do you only
give half the argument? That's why you can't respond to my arguments. So let's do it again. If you want to mitigate.
Force women to have loaded body counts.
You're not, dude. How's it force?
Go ahead.
How's it force?
You're the one enforcing sex to the
husband. How is it? How are we using force?
How are you enforcing sex to the husband from the pulpit?
Through social pressure, doofus. The same way you would with everything.
Gentlemen, your wife is going to have sex with you because church reverend enforced her to have sex with you.
Do you think?
Okay, please pull up the chat. Yeah, His suggestion is to have a church reverend enforce you to have burning desire to have sex with your husband.
Enforce requires force. Enforce is a derivative of force. You can't enforce absent force. No one's saying force.
This is how your sex is going to be had in his marriage. It's through enforcement, through the religious pulpit.
No, it's going to be the idea.
This is 2025, and we're still here somewhere on Little House on the Prairie.
If it's the idea,
I would love to have this reality.
If it's the idea that women have and men have both, that they're not supposed to deprive each other from this, because that is how they live the life of a Christian. The case of the matter is that they try to keep themselves sexually appealing to the partner. They try to keep themselves moving towards that state where they're found appealing. That's part of that. Why do you think? And by the way, you keep saying force. Can you demonstrate anywhere that I said that there would be any force involved with any of this, or that it's even necessary? Enforce is force.
Correct. That's what. So I was.
So where is the force? Where?
You tell me. You're the one.
You're asked the question.
Wait, you're the one that told me the church reverend is going to come enforce marriage.
No.
And sex.
When?
You said that earlier.
No. I said the
Enforcement
ecclesiastical
from
authority
the
uses
pulpit.
social pressures.
Social pressure
That's
to
not
make your
force.
wife fuck your husband.
No, you're not
So
making them do anything.
Okay, to encourage them to fuck their
Yeah.
husband. Okay, this
Don't you encourage people's wives to fuck them?
I don't need to be in their bedrooms that much.
Yeah, I mean, if
force her to
somebody,
do anything.
if
Listen, I
somebody
can't
called
force
you,
a woman to do
if a
very
woman
much.
called you and said, "I don't sleep with my husband. He seems angry at me," would you encourage him or her to sleep with him?
I wouldn't encourage her to do anything, especially with
You
me.
wouldn't
I don't
encourage
mess
her
with
to do anything.
I don't mess with married women. That's their
Brilliant.
business.
So your solution
that's
is fucking nothing. Nothing.
My solution is very clear.
What is it?
You're telling me at this
Yeah.
particular point that you're going to enforce through social pressure. Social pressure.
That's not
Hold on for a
force.
second. Social
There's no
pressure
enforcement.
social pressure enforces women to be very promiscuous at this particular point. Now, you're talking about 7% of the population or better, maybe 10, that are going to fall under this category, and this is going to lead a wave of women sleeping with their husband through social pressures, when social pressure quite tells them the opposite. Let me move. Let me.
I don't even
this.
know what the hell you're talking about at this point.
Exactly. It's very difficult. I know.
It
It's
is
very
very
difficult for
difficult.
you. I know exactly, and very nice tactic. But listen,
It's not a tactic. I'm trying my hardest to understand.
You're taking a very small scenario to
Yeah.
make it the large scenario. When I'm telling you the larger scenario is the reality, and you're telling me
Both
if
are reality.
I do this, if I do that.
No,
this is
so
a
are
very
you.
small percentage.
You're doing the same thing.
I'm telling you about
if
what's
you get
happening.
married, you may get a
No, I
divorce.
said
You
when.
may, if this happens, then this may happen.
We already looked at the statistics of it likely happening.
Yeah, no,
so that is
no.
likely to happen.
First of all, even the
Can you
statistics you
pull up
looked
the
at.
statistics again?
Yeah, pull up
The
the
marriage
statistics
statistics, the
for the
divorces.
Christians. It's
No, no,
actually not likely, is
overall
it?
in the United States? Overall in the United States.
Yeah,
So it only in order for it to work, you have to be white.
You need to break
make a
this
certain
down by
income. Hold on for a
demographics.
second. You need to, of
You want me to
course.
break it down?
So
and social
so you want to go.
economics.
You want to go. In order for your marriage to work, they have to be white, Christian.
They don't have to be white.
Make money.
No.
And then also probably live in a certain region.
If it's the
now,
case
what if that's
that-
not
yeah.
the case? Because
Yeah.
in the United States, I don't know where you live, but in the caves
Then
and
we use
hills
the
of the
apparatuses.
if you take the rest of the United States, they're highly not that. That is outside of those demographics.
And don't you wanna
what if
change
they're-
that?
What if they're outside of that?
Don't
What
you
if they're
wanna-
not white and
don't-
Christian?
don't you wanna
What if
change
they're
that?
not Christian to make 100K? What do you suggest then?
Yeah, so here's what I would suggest. If it's the case that in the black community, you have more divorces than in the white community, there's going to be contributing factors for why that is. I don't think that, like, black people are just ontologically different than white people, do you? Do you just believe, like, that at their core, they're just ontologically different, or do you think that they're the same? Because if that's the case, if we're equal people and equal people groups, then there must be some other social factors which are relating to this that increase the divorce rate in the black community that doesn't exist yet in the white community. If that's the case, we
Yeah.
would specifically target those issues to prevent that from happening, right? We're going to do this
What
across.
is it?
We're going to do this across the board. Well,
what would they be?
For the black community, there's a bunch. One, you have a distinction in economic certitude. The second one is you had a massive abortion rate, which is super problematic. Another one is you use matriarchal structures in the family home instead of patriarchal. Huge issue that you have. By the way, when it was Christian-based, it didn't happen. It was a patriarchal structure inside those black homes. And boy, they didn't put up with shit. Not the case anymore. So you have multiple factors here which need to be addressed. I agree with that. Nobody ever disagreed with that, though. What we're trying to do is look at the mitigation of risk, and even for the black community,
We handled that already.
if the black community moves in to these conventionally traditional churches, they still will have the same ecclesiastical authority, which will assist them in governing their marriage that white people would have, and it would still assist with the mitigation of risk. What's the alternative? It's just degeneracy, right? The alternative is just like, well, just hump them and never get married. Well, what good does that do for blacks? What good does that do? It just leads to more abortion. It just leads to more degeneracy. It leads to high crime rates, and the single motherhood's out of control. So, like, what are you doing to prevent any of that? Nothing. Nothing. Tell me what? What?
Okay, thank you. You said things that people have known for the past 45 years,
You
but I
didn't answer the
appreciate that.
question.
Hold on for a second. Thank you for contributing to a common conversation that people know, but you offer no other solution. That's great.
Even
Now,
I
here's
did.
the problem. Here's a problem with this. It's an if scenario. That would be great if we can go back to this. It would be great if we can go back and look at and say that blacks, when they were in the 40s and 50s, they had more stable relationships and marriages than even white folks. Here's the issue.
Okay.
Why stop at the 40s? Let's talk about 1863.
Okay.
Your tradition seems to always hit this point of 1940s where you shine this light of traditionalism that you've never lived in that seems to be in a snapshot of something that you don't even know about. Then when I fast
You're not
forward
even saying anything, dude.
again, you're not listening. When I fast forward to 1970, when it falls all apart with no-fault divorce, based on what I've been arguing, what happens? All that traditionalism falls apart. Why don't we take it further? Why don't we take it back to bride prices? I mean, how far in tradition you're going to go? You're only going to bang your head around 1940 and 50 because you watched a couple of movies and I Love Lucy episodes? That's not tradition.
Okay.
That was a snapshot in history that you're trying to achieve again.
So
take it back further. There's no marriages in the black community.
Let's say we'll take it. Let's say we take it all the way back to the 1700s. Let's just say, just for the sake of it, right? And that I'm totally wrong about all this, just for the sake of argument. Let's just say, what is your prescription to deal with any of those issues when you're telling men in the black community to not get married? How is that going to assist with abortion? How's that going to assist with strong fathers in the home? How's that going to assist with the only demographic population which can't reproduce itself? How? Can you give me a single prescription to any of that?
Let me tell you something. I agree with you on this.
I just want a prescription, dude.
Here's a problem. I agree with you. And listen, if you had any ability to provide this prescription better than Louis Farrakhan or Martin Luther King.
Does that mean no?
Give me a second. Listen to me. These men have tried to pretty much heal this issue, and they haven't.
No, they didn't.
Andrew Wilson certainly not to. Neither will CGA. So I don't have a prescription for the black community because black community is pretty much doomed at this particular point. They have too much degeneracy. They have single mother rates at the 70 and 80%. But I'm going to tell you something. You want to come in here and tell me something about ecclesiastics, and you're telling me about the reality of the black community, how to fix it. Nobody's been able to fix that community. So there's nothing you can do, and I can't offer any solution for that. Now, at that particular point, you're saying the risk is higher. It certainly will be higher under those matriarchal conditions. So you get no argument from me there. So at that point, where's your statistics lie then?
Well,
where's your solution then?
I'll tell you again. So I'm glad
he's going to solve the community problems here. I'd love to hear this.
Listen again. I'm not saying
the black community problem solved by Andrew Wilson.
That says the guy who literally just got done saying, I have zero prescriptions.
Because nobody does. That community is here. But I would love to hear the black community solved by Andrew Wilson.
Yeah, so let me tell you a bunch of things that can be done which will help mitigate these
Please
issues.
do.
The first is
that you can accomplish, not some pipe dream.
That can be accomplished.
Okay, here we go.
That can be accomplished politically and already are beginning to be accomplished politically. The first is you have to outlaw abortion. You have to. It has to be outlawed. And not by state where you can just go to the next state and do another abortion, right? One of the biggest problems with promiscuity in the black community is that they use abortion as a form of birth control. Same problem that you see in the white community, by the way. It's just more prevalent in the black community. The next problem that you have there is the lack of religiosity, where there used to be a really strong core religious base of based black men. And they were patriarchal, very patriarchal. And the thing is that it's the idea of these feminist bra-burning lunatics that told black women not to be under the evil patriarchy of their men. And yet, at this point, the men are rolling over and allowing the matriarchy to take over in their own community. Is a return to traditional church ethics going to assist that? Of course it will. Of course it will. How do I know? Because it did then, just a few short years ago. I'm not talking about hundreds of years ago. I'm talking about 60 years ago. By the way, there's other things that you can do too. Getting rid of EBT, getting rid of social programs which are designed to keep people dependent. These are all things which can be politically accomplished. Just like abortion, the starting of banning that was politically accomplished in our lifetime. And the thing is like, you have no prescriptions. Fuck, at least I'm trying here, man.
Man, Andrew, you are Captain Obvious. This is the obvious prescription.
Why didn't you obviously state it as a prescription?
Because people have exhausted the means to be able to do this. Trust me, there have been people way better than you that dress better than you and shave their beard better than you that can do this, and they haven't been able to accomplish it. You have the Democratic Party that is highly influential. 92% of black women voted for Democrats. That's also possibly where most of those women go to church. Most of black churches are overwhelmingly women. It's a women's club. And you're telling me about something completely obvious that everybody has pointed out for 25 years. You're not giving me anything new. This is a completely obvious scenario. And you believe that you've enlightened me over here and you're waiting for me to give you a solution. Let me tell you something.
It's not about changing your mind.
You certainly would never do that. Now, at this particular point here, the unsettling experience that men experience in divorce. All right. You're saying you're just going to mitigate it or eradicate it. What about the small percentage of men that experience it and go through issues like high levels of self-deletion, high levels of them not being able to recover financially ever? They're still going to experience this under your scenario.
Yes.
This doesn't disappear.
It'll
What
never
prescription
disappear.
do you have for those men that went to your marriage
Yeah.
and they got divorced 33%? What do you do
Well,
with
no, it's
these
not
men?
33% by
Okay,
tradition.
20%, 30%. It still was at a high rate.
I think it would
what
even be
prescription
lower than that.
You would hope so. You would hope so. But hope is not a strategy. What hold on for a second. What scenario do you have for men that you led into the burning building when they experience separation from their children, parental alienation, high levels of self-deletion?
Yeah.
What prescription do you have, sir, that you sold?
Yeah,
Have
that's a
all
great
you
question.
have all the answers. Please enlighten us.
Yeah, so-
what you're going to do with these men?
so-
Are you going to enforce them to have sex
Yeah,
with
yeah.
other virgins that you have on the sideline?
I'll answer the question,
Please
but I
do.
want to make a deal with you that if I answer this last question of yours, that you'll actually answer when I ask you after that. Is that a
Listen, we're
deal?
not in a court of law. I don't have to answer anything. I can state something.
Yeah, I know,
and
but
then
I'm
we
asking
go
if we
back
can
and
make a
forth.
deal. That if I
I'll
answer this
consider
question, you'll answer
answering
my
the
next
question
one.
that you asked me. I'll consider
So we're not going to
it.
make a deal on that?
I don't have to make a deal. Listen,
You don't
I'll
have to.
consider
I'm asking if
answering
you will.
something. Possibly. So go ahead.
Okay, well
Possibly.
then I possibly will hold the debate hostage until you possibly make a deal with
All
me.
right, great. So that gives me the floor.
So we'll just sit here and
They
stare at
give me
each
the floor.
other, or we
Well,
just
here's the deal.
filibuster each other. Like
At this particular point,
so
you don't
I-
want to.
so I can
you want to
answer.
answer it. You want to answer it.
But
I
you're
know
not going
you
to.
wanna
But you're not
answer
going to answer mine. I just want that clear. You're not going to answer mine after. You're just going to
it. I
filibuster and
answered the
stonewall
question.
again.
I ask you the question. Put it on the
Yeah.
table.
So this is pretty simple, right? What you're proposing here. Every policy prescription which is made anywhere in any nation, with any people group, from the tribal all the way to the national level, is going to be a trade-off, no matter what. There's always going to be some people who are disaffected by it in some small percentage, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. We don't run societies based on outliers. The second thing is, when it comes to suicide in men particularly, one of the best ways to mitigate that is to begin the process of eliminating deployment of troops abroad. Because one of the biggest contributing factors to male suicide, including in marriage with divorce, is their veteran status. And it's because they really depend on their family to assist them with what's going on mentally from the fact they've been deployed in these wars. And one thing you could really do that would help that's what the American First policy is we want to bring troops home, no more foreign wars. That will greatly help and aid with this problem. And by the way, policy-wise, it's already been aiding with this as
Okay,
Trump has wound these wars down. And by the way, I'll point out
That's a good. That's a good one. I like it.
I'll
Go
point
ahead.
out. I'll point out a few more things that
Go
you
ahead,
can
please do. Yes.
So another thing that you can do is at the national level, right? From propaganda works. I'm sure you agree. Propaganda absolutely works.
Absolutely.
If at a national level you had propaganda, which instead of showing LGBTQ flags, degeneracy, girl bossing, shit like this, which is what you see everywhere, you had institutional family units instead. Right? And that was what you saw everywhere that you went. And that was where the social status was. At the top-down level, that would really help change people's psyches around. The same way they were indoctrinated towards the degeneracy, same way you can indoctrinate them out of degeneracy. That's how we got a whole nation to smoke. And it's also how we got a whole nation to quit smoking. So the thing is, like, there really are good prescriptions here. And the only thing I get from you...
Wait a minute.
Hang on.
We're talking about self-deletion
Almost
of
done.
men.
Almost done.
Okay.
Yes. That'll help with self-deletion of men. Yes. And it's one of the biggest contributing factors. Single motherhood, another huge contributing factor. These are all things which we need to mitigate. And by the way, these are all great prescriptions. You said I don't have none.
No. For a second. That's what you said. Now, here's the deal. These are great prescriptions. I happen to live in the time that you're talking about when the FCC didn't allow degeneracy. And I was able to live through the time where they started to allow it. So I, unfortunately, was able to see a time where America was great, and now we had dysfunction. So I agree with some of those things. That took place probably 40 or 50 years. It would take a very, very
Maybe 100
unique
years.
scenario for that to occur when you have Cardi B and this type of music out here. And she's a single mother divorcee with a man that is having babies
See,
with
now
multiple
that's
men.
a good argument.
Okay, so how...
That's an actual argument.
Hold on
The
for a
first one
second.
I've
No,
heard.
that's something that you agree with. That's okay.
No, that's an
okay.
actual argument.
No, it's an agree. You just agree. You can be humble enough to say you agree.
That's an
with me.
actual argument.
No, listen, you don't have to be, you don't have to belittle or attempt to belittle.
Well,
I'm here a grown-ass
I'm not.
man.
The argument
just say
is
you agree.
propaganda
Hey,
takes
listen,
time.
listen, just say you agree. You wanted me
It's
to
not
answer
a matter of
question. Just say
agreement.
you
It's a
agree.
matter of
Just say
recognizing
you
that was an
agree. It's
argument.
okay, sir.
It's
I know
the
you,
only
I know you're
argument
not
you've
used
made
to
the whole
somebody across
debate.
from you. No, just say you agree. You can humble yourself in the side.
I don't agree. It's just an argument.
You agree.
It's
Be a
just-
big boy.
Oh,
Be
yeah.
a big boy.
I don't
Now, listen,
agree, but
hold
it's
on
an
for a second.
argument.
Here's a second. Here's a second.
Okay.
You're telling me it's going to take 50 to 100 years.
No.
I ask you about a man that's considering taking his life today. You're telling me about propaganda machine. Okay, there are men here that are been abandoned from their kids. They've been alienated. I'm talking about today. I'm not talking about in the church. I'm talking about today.
Okay, I'll answer
You're
to
telling me
today.
about some scenario where you're going to change liberalism and bring in righteous conservatism. That's not going to work today. We need solutions for men today, not 50 years from the turning point meeting. Okay, at this point, today we have men that are in dire need of help.
I agree.
They're going through unsettling situations and divorces. This is who I speak to, and you keep telling me obvious answers about propaganda and changing this and going to church. This sounds great on paper, but that doesn't happen today. You don't start that today. Can you give me a one solution you got that starts today, Mr. I got all the solutions? We can start today.
Yeah. If you assist with funding MRA groups today, who are trying to legislate and get legislation passed today to create preventative measures for those men today. Now, if you ask me, can you do anything about a man who might be willing to blow his head off right this second because he's already going through the events of divorce, which I had nothing to do with, wasn't there for, could never do anything about.
Nobody can do anything
Can you prevent?
about it.
Of course, nobody can. But that's built
Even
into
your righteous
but that's
ecclesiastic reverend from the pulpit.
Yes, but it's built into the question. What you're building into the question is probably the worst framing ever. Andrew, if somebody right this second is willing to do
Here we
something
go.
bad,
Here's
can you stop them?
Here it
It's
comes.
like,
Here it comes. Look at the
I don't
scenario.
understand.
But your scenario is
Yeah.
to change MRA funding when women outvote men 60 to 40%, and you have women lobbyist groups and 0 men lobby groups. That's what you're telling
That's
me.
really
We're
funny.
going to change to fund MRA groups. When
Congress
MRA
makes the law,
hold on
not
for a
the
second.
voters, sir.
Hold on. When
Congress makes
MRAs
the
when
law.
MRAs are on some terror lists. Yes.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
you're telling me that they're going to start just switching funding. We're just going to switch funding over here
Yeah.
to a terrorist organization,
is-
according to some of these websites.
yeah, I would say
This is just a pie in the sky. All
it's
your
funny.
solutions are completely
Not
pie
only
in
is
the
it
sky.
not pie in the sky, but I'll give you an
Absolutely
example. I'll give you an example.
The least possible situation that
Well,
can
I'll
occur.
give you an example of where it's already happened. So I would argue that the traditional churches are MRAs, that they are men's rights advocacy groups, and that's where traditional masculinity is mostly found today, where men are even allowed to be masculine. Hang on. Let me finish my point. And it is the case that those MRAs, in this case the traditional churches, already got abortion rolled back, didn't they? They're already moving these things back. They're already at the forefront of fighting degeneracy. They are also the ones who are at the charitable forefront of helping those same veterans who are blowing their heads off when the government doesn't even pay any attention to them. When by the time the government was all done doing any of these reforms when it came to veterans associations, it was those pesky old traditional churches from Sky Daddy that you hate so much. They were the ones on the forefront who were actually assisting those people and not doing that. While you asked me this question, Andrew, what can you do right this second for a guy who's going to blow his head off? Well, probably nothing. But neither can you.
Of course
But
not.
at least we can do something about that not happening to others.
Okay, so that's very easy to accomplish in red states, and red states overwhelmingly were the states that got those things passed.
Yeah.
They were already going to get it passed without the interaction of these so-called righteous individuals.
That
you're
was
saying.
done
Hold
at
on
the
for a
federal
second.
level,
Now
not
let's
the
just-
state level.
Yeah, through Donald Trump.
Yeah, the
like.
federal
Now
level.
watch
It
this.
doesn't have nothing to do with red
California, Nevada, these
Uh-huh.
are all states that you can easily drive to and get it done because they're red
Which is why we
or
need
they're
a
blue
federal
states.
ban, yeah.
And at that particular point, are we going to get a federal ban? Do
Yeah,
you believe
we very
have?
possibly could, yeah.
Possible.
It looks good. It looks
good, but
Yeah.
we don't have it today. All right, so we don't.
You
we're not.
can't-
Again, we don't have it.
So what do you
And
wanna do?
More than likely,
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you. You said it's possible, and I say more than possible. You're not going to get it. All right. So at that point,
That's what
now
they
you
said
have
about
an
Roe
issue.
v. Wade, and they were wrong.
They're wrong today. They're wrong. Possibly, we possibly might get it, but California they're not doing it. I can drive to California
If there's
right
a
now.
federal ban,
When
they
there's
can't
a woman that
stop
can
it.
drive it, I could take a woman to Nevada.
Yeah,
We can
but it's
take her to
already
many
decreasing
places
the
right now.
rates. It's already working. Like, what are you talking about? It's already effective.
All it does is just send women to another place.
And
They're
it
gonna find
reduces the amount of abortions.
It reduces it so
Significantly.
Now we're not. That's all we're talking about. Reducing it. We're
Yeah.
talking about now the unsettling experiences.
So do nothing?
We're doing something.
Yeah.
We're doing something. I'm informing
Yeah.
people. I'm informing people. I'm giving people the information.
To do what?
And you're telling me
What
a
do you
pie in
want
the
them to
sky
do?
solution that might take
Tell me
forever.
what men should do.
I'm telling you what they're
What?
doing. All right. At this particular point, this
Yeah.
is the question that you've been wanting to ask me. All right. I put out a book called 52 Things That Men Should Do Prior to Considering Marriage.
Okay.
What it does is take it through a step-by-step approach of what they need to look out for just to detect.
What does that do?
Hold on for a second.
Right
Hold on for a
now.
second. Just to detect this man's considering. I've had plenty of men that said they were considering marriage. They found the red flags because of my book, and they stopped getting married to a woman that eventually they saw would have been bad for them. That would have cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I'm doing something very positive. Now watch this.
This is
you mitigate
great.
you mitigate the red flags. You allow
Mitigate the
men to
risk.
understand what the process of marriage is.
Mitigating the risk.
Then you're going into possibly telling them what the state is involved in, how your children are affected, parental alienation, the odds of self-deletion, and so forth and so on. So that's an obvious
I want to make sure I got this right.
opportunity for men to learn.
So I want to get this right.
You're telling me
What
a pie in
you're
the sky
doing-
possibility of changing
Yeah,
laws
so what you're
when women
doing-
outvote men 60 to 40%.
Yeah, so you wrote, it doesn't, dude, you don't even understand the political process and how it works. Voting itself, when you're talking about,
lobby groups.
yeah, you're
What
talking about
men's
lobby
lobby
groups and
what men lobby
NGOs.
groups? What male lobby groups do they
The
have?
traditional churches.
Okay, we're back to church again.
They're the ones
Okay,
who do
we're
all
back-
the lobbying on behalf of men.
They're doing it on behalf of the men that follow them. That's not on
It's
behalf
for
of
all men. This abortion
It's
ban
typically-
helps
it's
all
typically-
men,
It's
not some. Their charities to men who are going to kill themselves helps all men, not some.
It doesn't help all men in that situation.
Yes,
it helps
it
the men.
helps.
Because listen,
Yes, it
I'm going to
does.
tell you where it doesn't. There might be a woman considering getting an abortion, and he wants to keep the kid. He has no mitigating risk.
They're the only ones trying to change that.
Exactly. Who is?
The traditional
You're saying the
churches.
traditional churches.
Yes.
All right. At that point, that doesn't help him.
Yes, it does help him.
So you're saying at that point, it's only the traditional church when you have hundreds of female lobbyist groups and you have them out.
They're the
voting
ones
men.
combating those
And
female
that's it.
lobbying groups,
And
yes.
that's it. How are they doing? Only the red
They're
states.
doing great.
Only the red
no,
states.
at the federal level, they're doing great. You're wrong.
You can still go to other states to get it done.
Yes, but we've still
this
managed to mitigate it even in those states. It's a war. It's a political
that's
war.
right.
That's how it works.
Exactly.
And not only that, let's point this out. Your whole solution here, I wrote a book to help mitigate future events. Oh, great. Andrew, what are you trying to do? Help mitigate future events.
Exactly.
Oh, right now, right this second, what can I do to help? Andrew says, right this second, if guy has a 357 in his mouth, he's going to pull the trigger, he can't do anything. You're totally right, but neither can you by your own admission.
Correct.
So there we go there. When we're looking at the future, though, and I say, let's do all of these different prescriptions, which we can actually politically accomplish and move towards, you say, that's all fucking pie in the sky, blah, 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 blah. I ask, well, what can you do as far as future prescriptions?
And
You
I
say,
told them-
blacks are fucked, and I have absolutely no prescriptions for it.
No,
Sorry,
actually, I
guys.
wrote a book, 52 Things That Men Could Consider
To
prior
mitigate
marriage.
divorce risk. The
So
same thing I'm
find
trying to
out
do.
if they're marrying the right woman. So you're just
Mitigating
mad. You're
divorce
just
risk.
mad that I have one solution, you have another, and we don't
Mine's
agree with
better.
it. That's what you believe. I think yours is pie in the sky. So that's just.
I don't
your
see
own
how it could
belief
be pie
system.
in the sky.
When
It's
not
affecting
working,
way
you're
more men than your book
you're
is.
No, my book actually has 15,000+. You have
So?
how many? Hold on. You have
So?
how many? You have how many ecclesiastic marriages that your church pastors are going to go into the bedroom and enforce marriages? You can't even give me
Nobody
a number.
ever proposed
you couldn't
that.
even
You're
give me
such
a
a
number.
liar.
You couldn't
It's
even give me a
such a
number.
liar.
You said that. Give me a
Nobody
number.
said
Okay.
that the pastors are going to go in the bedroom and enforce anything.
Okay, social pressure.
Stop lying.
All your social
Just
pressure.
Stop lying,
Listen,
dude.
listen. Where's your social pressure? How many people do you have in your ecclesiastic marriages? How many people got married under that?
Millions.
Please give me a number.
Millions of
Show
people
me a
have an
number. Go- hey,
ecclesiastical
can you type
authority.
it up?
That's
Go ahead and type it up.
People have an ecclesiastical marriage. They may have a
No,
state cert also.
under your scenario.
What do you want me to type?
Yeah, we don't.
How many?
We don't
you
know. We don't know
Exactly,
exactly.
But you're sneezing at my number, but you don't know at
We
all.
know for
hey,
sure
listen, there's a lot
that
you don't
even
know.
if it was
There's
the
a lot
case that
don't
you
know.
never adopted the state,
But you don't have any number.
even if it's the
Can you-
case, hang on.
What's
hang
the
on,
number?
Hang on. Even if it's the case that all they ever did was get a state marriage certificate and never even followed that portion of what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying, right? The number is still lower by the state's own numbers. It's still lower in
Can you
traditional
give me
churches.
a number of your marriages that you're proposing that we're all going to follow?
We don't know. We
they
don't
can
have
mitigate?
polls
You
on it
don't
yet.
have a number.
Yeah, we don't know for sure.
I would venture to say it's very little, under 100.
Sure. So
all right.
what?
So now we got.
No,
under
it's not under 100.
Okay. Certainly
No.
under 100.
No, it's not.
All right. I
Well,
don't hear
people-
anybody talking about it other than you.
Yeah, well, that's because you're not around traditional
Okay.
churches by your own admission. But yeah, there's
Traditional
people who have crowning ceremonies and get married by
Traditional
churches who don't get a state cert.
traditional churches.
In fact, there might be data on that. You should look.
please look it up
There might be
under your scenario.
Yeah, under my scenario. But the thing is that
Ecclesiastic
even if we
marriages under
grant,
here.
even if we were
So
to
we got
grant,
125
even
marriages.
if we were to grant it,
Yes.
still from the state's own admission, the divorce rate's still significantly lower for a reason.
20 to 30%. Okay, so
That's
it's
huge.
still lower. It is nice.
Significantly
It would be
lower.
nice. You still have men under unsettling divorce conditions. You still have men under state-funded divorce. You still
Yeah.
have men under child support. You still have men under parental alienation. You still have sexist marriages.
2 out of
You
10.
haven't accomplished most of these
2
things.
out of 10.
2 out of 10 what?
That would be 2 out of 10. It's 20%, right? It's 2 out of 10 of those marriages, as opposed to your system.
4 out of 10.
Yeah, in your
5
system.
out of 10.
In your system, it's much higher.
It's the system that exists.
No, it's not.
But you're
Listen,
telling me 150 marriages. This is
No.
all of these scenarios. And I have to be honest with you. This wasn't much of a debate.
Yeah, I know,
because
you lost every
no,
point.
no. Listen, much of your scenarios were make believe. To
Oh,
be
okay,
honest
they're all
with you,
make-believe.
they were pretty make believe. You would have to have an extremely considerable movement to be able to accomplish them.
Like
Which
millions
doesn't-
of
which mean
people?
You would have to have millions of people to do.
Can you pull up
exactly
how
what
many
you-
Catholic and
No, no, no,
Orthodox are in the
no, no,
United
no,
States?
listen.
It's my turn to ask. I can ask him to
Please
pull
do,
the
please
stats.
do. But that's not the number
How-
I'm looking
how many?
for. That's
Yeah,
not the
it
number
is the
I'm
number
looking
we're
for.
looking for.
We're looking for ecclesiastic marriages under your scenario.
No, listen. Even if
That's
it
the
were
only way
ca-
it works for
even
you.
if it were the case, do you agree with me that if you take the state out of marriage, that is going to assist in the reduction of
We
divorce?
can't take the state out of marriage.
Why not?
That's what you're telling me. You
Yeah,
can't
why
tell me
can't
how
you?
many people have done it.
Yeah, but why can't you do it?
Because no fault divorce, a woman can go into divorce you, even if, because you're not under her control. The
How if you're not
ecclesiastics are
married
under the
to her?
authority.
By the state, you're not married. How can she take you to a divorce court? Can you
See,
explain that to me?
I asked you this earlier. Have you been through a divorce?
It doesn't matter.
Oh, that's
Answer
a
the
yes.
question.
That's a yes. So you've been through a divorce.
Why does that matter?
All right,
What is it pertinent to the
because
debate?
this is why. Can I finish? You've been telling me I'm cutting you off. You won't let me finish.
Bro, I want
At this
an
point-
answer to my
See,
question.
There we go again. Oh,
Can you
my
answer my
goodness.
question?
I mean, I can play the game you're playing.
You just
Can I-
won't answer questions.
Jeez. All right, listen. I mean, I thought you were a tough guy. Listen, under this scenario, a marriage, even if it's ceremonial, religious, it doesn't matter if she files for the divorce. You will still be going in court to fight that.
How
I don't
would
care.
you file for divorce if you're not married by the state, dude?
Listen,
Can you answer my
completely missing this.
question?
You're completely missing this. This
Oh
is
my
what tells
God.
me you haven't been through one. Have you talked to a divorce attorney? A woman can file. You have to respond and provide evidence that you were not married. Now, you and your common law, you living with your kids, it's going to be difficult. I'm trying to give you some information.
That's
and knowledge.
common law marriage.
Okay.
That's different. In some states, there
You're-
is no common law marriage. So
That's
just
not
answer,
common law marriage.
So just answer
Listen,
one. Okay.
California doesn't even have common law, and that exists. It could be ceremonial. You could get married in Fiji. It doesn't matter. Soon as you get back here, if you practice marriage, the whole institution, at that particular point, if she files, you, sir, will have to respond to that suit.
Yeah.
If you do, I would hope and pray that the judge, not God, grant you your wish. At that point, your argument fails because you then would have to say, my ecclesiastic reverend on the little house on the prairie granted this marriage, but it doesn't count under the state.
I just wanna make
she
sure-
can do this, and you have to respond.
Can you
to
help
this.
me with this? Because I
I'm
am
helping you a lot.
actually confused. So let's say a woman and a man went out to a field and declared themselves
We got
married.
a scenario. Let's say if.
Yeah, let's
Okay,
say if a
that's the
man
one.
went out to a field with a woman and declared that they're married.
Correct.
You're saying she can still go to a divorce court and divorce him?
She can file for the divorce. You
How?
have to respond.
Yeah,
You
with
have
what?
to respond.
Yeah, what does that mean,
You're-
though? That doesn't mean
Again,
anything.
I'm informing
What are
you.
you
What does
talking
that
about?
mean? This is how a lawsuit works.
Okay,
She's
a
a petitioner.
lawsuit.
She
Okay.
files. She says, we walked on coals. We went outside.
Yeah.
This was a union. I consider it a marriage. Everybody knows and addresses us as a marriage.
Yeah.
This is in non-common law states. We receive mail at this place. We've been living under the same roof for this many years. You will have to respond to these allegations. Now, you're going to have to say
Yeah.
on your petition, this is not true. We have an ecclesiastic marriage and a prenup under God, and we live together, but we weren't married. That's a response to the lawsuit, and then you proceed to trial and a hearing.
Is this a lawsuit or a divorce?
Divorce is a lawsuit.
Okay, so I'm curious.
Divorce is a lawsuit.
Can you look this up?
Is
Can
divorce
you
a law-
file for divorce without ever getting married?
Oh my goodness, you are slow. You can file a lawsuit for anything.
So then it's
So
not a
anybody
divorce.
can sue you for anything.
Yeah, okay,
Okay.
but-
So if you go into there and she
So they're just
says
suing
that,
you?
yes, it's
Okay,
a
but
lawsuit.
that's not a divorce. Come
It
on,
says-
dude.
It's a lawsuit.
Can we pull this up? Can you file for a divorce without getting married? Divorce is a legal process that ends in legally recognized marriage.
If you never obtained a marriage license and your marriage was never registered, summarized according to the state law, the courts have no marriage to dissolve. You're full of
Hold
shit.
on for a
You're just
second.
saying
Hold
that
on.
they can. Yeah,
No,
you're
no.
full of shit.
Listen,
they can just
they
sue
have-
you for whatever.
You said they have no marriage to the.
Yeah,
to
you're
dissolve.
saying that
You
they're just
still
gonna
have to
sue you.
No. You still have
Come on.
to. You still have to respond to the lawsuit.
Yeah, but you don't have to go to the divorce court,
You
dude.
do.
No,
That's
you
where
don't.
You file the response.
No,
you still have
that's
to
not
go.
a divorce court.
That is the divorce.
No,
court.
it's not. It's a
That
court
is
of.
the divorce court.
It's the
Listen.
circuit court or some shit, not the divorce court.
Listen, this is
You got
this is-
caught in 4K. You're
that's
full of shit.
ChatGPT. That's ChatGPT.
You're full
In
of
this
it,
situation
dude.
here, we can bring a lawyer in to
Bring
resolve
him.
this and say, can she file for a divorce? You're saying what the
No.
outcome is. Hold on for a second. You're saying the outcome, they can't legally enforce it. That's what you hope the outcome is. You hope the outcome is. You still have
Dude,
to respond.
all you're saying is that a woman can sue you for anything.
Correct.
Yeah, but that's not the same as filing for divorce
Hold on
through
for a
the
second.
divorce
That would-
courts,
that's
dude.
where they would file it.
No,
would
they
file it
can't.
in-
No, they're not filing it in the divorce court.
My gosh. All right. That's where they would file it. In the divorce court.
They
That's
would
where
file a
it there.
lawsuit.
No, they would file it in the family court. Trust me. Now, here's the
family
thing.
court's
Hold on
different,
for a
though.
That's the divorce court.
Wait a second.
Family court is a divorce court.
Wouldn't you have to do that under specific criteria for family court, like a kid's involved or something? You can just
Correct. So, in this
Come
scenario, hold on for a
dog,
second.
dude. That's not the same
Hold
as
on, hold on,
divorce
hold on for a second.
proceedings. This is
I mean,
ridiculous.
you
That's
don't-
ridiculous.
Listen. The family court is what people call the divorce court. There's no building
Yeah,
that
yeah,
says
I agree
divorce
with
court.
that.
You understand
Yeah,
that?
yeah, I agree with that.
So you have a woman with children
Yeah.
that you say you're not married to. If she files,
Yeah.
you still have to go under family court jurisdiction.
Yeah.
You still have to respond
Because there's children, yes.
because there's children.
Yeah.
At that point, my point is made. She
Yeah.
has filed. They may say the divorce doesn't count.
Yeah.
But now, how do we deal with these children?
Yeah, but that was
those
never-
children. That is a part of marriage. Did you not have children with the woman?
Come on, dude. So if you're not,
That
if
is
you-
a part of
so as long as
marriage.
you don't have children, then they can't do that.
Correct. That's what you're saying. But you're saying
No,
you're
I'm
gonna have
asking you.
children.
I'm actually asking.
You're saying they're going to have children, correct?
Yes.
You're going to go to family court
Yes, you could go to family court.
if
Yes.
she files for the divorce.
Not for divorce. They could go for
If
like
she files
motions
for
for
child
support or all
support,
sorts of
any
things.
of these-
That's
that
not
is the family
divorce.
court.
Yeah.
When we talk about what men deal with when they deal with marriage and the result is a divorce, one of the things they deal with is child support, also domestic violence, which falls under the family court. So you cannot be married. Oh
you
my
have
God.
you have a problem here with this.
Listen,
so
that
I
can
agree.
fall under
I
the
agree
family
that
court.
if you have children, that could go through the family court system. Nobody ever disputed that,
Okay.
though.
So you're still dealing with issues,
but
right?
hang on. But that's the different one. That's different than filing for divorce. You can't file for divorce if you're never married. That's
Now
one.
you're going to
And
child
two,
support, yes.
and hang on. Two, the second problem here is the reason that men usually lose their custody when it comes to divorce and divorce court is because women plot. They plot escape hatches. So what they do is they go, okay,
Of course they do.
look, I'm going to take 2 years, make sure that you're fucking destitute on the way out, and then I'm filing in divorce court.
Correct.
You're going to get hit over the head from what happens in divorce court.
Absolutely.
Whole different ball game, though. If it's the case that you have children with a woman, and she goes and she files, you're actually in a much better position to get custody
Correct.
at that point than if it was the case that you were married through the state, dude. Much better
Well,
positioned.
We don't know that.
No, 100%
for a second.
that's
you
the
don't,
case.
You don't know that. You're guessing. Can you
No,
give me some
yeah,
data
there
on that
is
one?
actually
There's
data.
data on
Yeah,
that
yeah.
one. Okay, go ahead and look it up. But we don't know that.
Yes,
That's just a
if
guess.
it's the case, hang on. If it's the case,
If you're not
'cause
legally
that
married.
men who fight for custody,
Correct.
right?
Yes, that's correct.
But they're in a better position to fight for custody if they're not going through the divorce court. If they're only getting motions for child support or
Well, we
child
know
custody.
actually, I'll tell you something. If you are not married to them, you actually fare a little bit worse. If you're not legally married, that's true. If you're not legally married to, let's just take a baby mom, baby dad situation. If he's not legally married to them, they typically fare a little bit worse.
Yes.
in custody cases.
I just said that.
Right, correct.
Yeah.
So at that point, they're still faring worse. If
No,
they're
they're
married,
faring better, right?
if they're not married,
yes, they'd be
they're a
faring
baby
better.
mom. No, they would actually fare worse.
How?
Well, ask any guy that's been in court. We can look at this when
Yeah.
when they are not legally married to
Yeah.
the woman. they go through a custody battle.
Yeah.
When they're legally married, they do better getting better custody.
Yes, men get better custody.
When
So
they're
that would be a
legally
better
married.
outcome.
If they're not legally married,
Yes.
typically they fare worse getting custody
Why?
because they're not married to the woman. This is typically, it just depends on jurisdiction.
It's because of the
It's-
unplanned nature of it.
Correct.
But if it's
Exactly.
planned- but if it's
planned, we don't know.
No, we do know,
The judge
actually.
doesn't know.
Hang on.
How do they know?
We do.
So now you're saying
Nope.
you're going in there
Hang
to
on, hang
use that we're not legally married, but we're married.
Here's how we can logically, I think I can actually logically demonstrate this, and I think you'll agree. Okay, so the reason that men tend to fare bad in custody disputes and in divorces is because it's unexpected. So usually they're getting hit with it and it's unexpected. Even if it should be expected, because it's unexpected, they have time to
Typically.
plot, they have time to plan, this kind of thing.
Domestic
right?
violence
And so they
issues.
can
Correct.
hit them with it.
Right.
Right. That's
That's normally what happens.
yeah, that's
You
normally.
can't mitigate that. Or are you suggesting you can?
You can
Okay.
mitigate. You can mitigate it. Here's how you can mitigate it. If you're in a church, you have
52 things. Go ahead.
yeah. If you have the if you have the ecclesiology, the ecclesiastic community, the community actually supports you when you're going through these problems of
They're not going to
divorce.
be in court with you.
No, they actually help you with funding. They help you with everything.
They're not going to be in
Yes.
court with you. They're not going to be
They
in
don't
court
need
with
to
you.
go
They
to
don't have
court with you.
So
Money
you're gonna
is what talks, man, and bullshit walks.
Exactly. I agree with that. That I can agree with.
Yeah.
But they're not going to be able to fund
Well, I tell
that.
you,
to
they
get
do
you.
all the time.
Listen,
They
all right,
assist
the
them with custody
125
agreements all the
these
time.
small marriages, I
Yeah.
would love to see these out. They should do a documentary on them.
They do.
All right, so we could see
We do
them.
have stats
But
on this.
Most people aren't under these, so we can say that's clearly the case.
But
In those
so what?
situations here,
So
under
what,
those
though?
situations, you have men that are not under this veil of, I don't know what it is, okay, that do fare worse when they're not married. Okay, that's typically what's going to happen.
Because the childbirth itself is unplanned. But if they're with a woman long term
Yes.
as a partner, they actually do better.
Absolutely, and I was
even
one of
if they're
those,
not
and I was
married.
one of those.
Even if they're not married.
Typically,
Yes.
That's. But sometimes
So it's still
not
better
the situation.
outcomes. You're just talking about the unplanned nature.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
I mean, mostly, though.
Because there's a lot of factors here. I mean, we can make things black and white. The guy doesn't have the ability to maintain the custody. He lives in another
Yes,
city.
because
there's
it's
so many
unplanned.
other factors.
Because it's
There's
unplanned.
so
I
many other
knocked her
factors.
up. That's
No.
different than I was with her
they
for a
were in
couple
a
of years.
relationship. They were in a relationship. All right.
Yeah, but knocking her up usually happens early.
It could. It typically does.
It
because
typically
that's where men.
does.
And
Yep.
at that point, now they were raising the kid for 2 or 3 years. They were together.
But this goes
and
to
then
my
it happens. But it also goes to my point. In this situation here, right here, we have a lot of things that we like to make black or white and easily solve.
No, it's all nuanced. I agree.
Okay, very much nuanced.
Yeah.
At that point, then you're just telling us, "Oh, I'll just throw this aspect of religion on top of it, and it'll fix it, or it'll mitigate. It'll mitigate it. It'll
Yes,
mitigate.
mitigate.
It doesn't eliminate it. It
Yeah,
just
but
makes it less.
you-
You're not can't eliminate it.
But
It just
even
makes it less
okay,
likely. But they're still going to
but
go
even
through
if
it.
it-
Once they go through it, what do you do?
But when you said a marriage was a great institution, right?
It
Did that
was.
eliminate all divorce?
It was very low.
Well,
about
right.
7 to
So
10%.
it's just you're only
Like,
talking
it
about
was actually
mitigation.
lower.
You're
It
only
was
talking about
It was
mitigation.
actually lower than the percentages that you're showing me.
I agree.
Way lower.
I agree.
Way lower.
But you're still talking about mitigation.
But we also talking about white people were least likely to get married under these scenarios too.
Yeah, but we're still talking about mitigation.
Exactly.
And
And
so,
so at
if
that
you
point-
say it's great and it's mitigating, and I say, okay, I want to move towards mitigation, we can never eliminate it. You can't hold that against me.
I can't, and you can't hold it against
I
me for
can.
telling men to avoid the situation, especially since, and I'll add this on, especially since we can know statistically women are getting married at an older age. That is increasingly high. We can look at 40 years ago, it was 20 years old. We can look at today, it's roughly around 28 and 30.
But there's some nuance there too. And
There's a lot of nuance
well, hang
there.
on. There's,
And
here's
hold
a
on for
big
a second,
one.
but I
Okay,
was
go ahead.
completing a
Go
point
ahead,
here.
go ahead.
Okay. At that point, you're seeing a lot of women choosing to not marry. You're also seeing a lot of men choosing to not marry those women that are older.
Yeah.
So how do you get those people to have an ecclesiastic marriage?
I'll help you.
When you're telling them, these people are saying, I'm not marrying that woman.
Yep.
She's a stepmom, or so no, she's a single mom.
Yep, I
she's
understand.
older.
Yep.
She's past her prime. How are you getting that marriage rate up?
This is the
with
best.
the ecclesiastic
So I
marriage?
think that's a great question. It's one
Other
that,
than saying that they got to be virgins.
and it's
'cause
one
that's not
that
how it
I
works.
need, and it's one that I do need to answer to. So here's the answer to this. The reason that women are getting married older is because they're deferring their childbearing years for college. That's why.
That's obvious. Okay.
I mean, literally, that's
Sure.
the only reason, and one of
we
the
know
prime
this.
reasons that the birth rate is collapsing is because they're having children older because they defer those childbearing years.
Like I
for
said,
later
that's
in
not
life.
fruitful and multiply. That's just adding.
So we can look at this and we can. Well, it is still multiplying.
Okay, all
but
right,
anyway,
all right, yeah.
The point is when we're talking about, we go back to this whole propaganda thing, right?
You're not going to get a disagreement on this.
Hang on. The idea is, should we have propaganda that says, women, you go to school, we'll give you student loans, right? We'll back the entire thing for free, and we promise you a lucrative STEM career, right? When the opposition is actually true. Or do we run campaigns that say, no STEM funding, you got to pay for your own fucking college, okay? Or you can choose the more traditional path.
How likely is this to happen?
It's actually pretty likely. If you look at the idea of STEM fund or funding for college, right? The idea of student loans and things like this, women are already trying to check out in the worst way because they can't have kids later in life.
But they're not getting married, though.
They do. They just do. They do college first, and this is, by the way, where the body count comes from. The big body counts are coming because they spend all this time in college getting fucked.
Very
right?
obviously, this is obvious. Yes,
and then afterwards, right? They get their little lucrative career, and then they want to settle down.
They find a
But it seems to me very obvious that if you wanted to do something about this, you would want to create the incentive for women to not go to college and instead use their childbearing years to get married, because that's what we always did.
I've actually created this scenario before, and it's very opposed to where society's going. Society really not showing that they're showing trends of this. You might have the little spatters here and there, but if you have a woman that says, okay, I can't afford to go to college, she becomes a Walmart clerk. Hold on for a second. She becomes a Walmart clerk, an assistant manager. I'm looking at those particular demographics. They're not jumping into marriages. All right, maybe in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, they're still out here ho-hopping. All right, they're still finding a variety of ways.
But here's why. So women are getting more college degrees than men because men have a viable option for making income, which is easy.
Correct.
I mean, it's actually harder, but it's easy and for them.
We can survive.
And the idea is, if you're a tradesman, you're going to make a lot of money. Okay, especially in modernity, because there's an incompetency crisis in the United States.
Absolutely.
So if you're good at what you do, you're going to make a lot of money.
And
that's just it.
Women are less likely
and even
to go
if
in
you're
those
bad at it, you'll make a lot of money. But the college thing created a situation we were not aware was going to happen, even though I could easily have predicted it, which is oversaturation. Women only go for a couple things, and they're sociological related mostly. They're not really for STEM fields, and that's who's hiring the big STEM fields. Everything else oversaturated. That's why women end up in government NGOs and government think tanks as psychologists, because the overage has to go somewhere. But that's saturated too. So you're seeing actually a trend begin to emerge of that trending down because of oversaturation. So if that's the case, these women don't want to go work at Walmart as the assistant manager, right? And if you had said propaganda plan, and the propaganda plan is simple enough, the idea here is just don't defer your childbearing years for college. Instead, we'll help you with incentives so that you have children younger and you get married younger. You will almost eliminate this entire problem. And yes, not only is it viable, not only is it viable, but we should be moving towards that. This idea that we shouldn't get married rather than just create the conditions for which marriage is great is exactly what we should be doing.
And under those conditions, it would make sense because you're getting women that can multiply, that can
But it's only the churches that can get this done.
No, not really. But in this situation here, I agree. I agree with that scenario. I proposed that many years ago. However, you're going to be hard pressed for women to actually pick that. Although they're not going to college, they're trending down in college. They're probably not going to complete one of these liberal arts degrees. What you're probably going to see them do, they're still going to Coachella. They're still selling coochie. They're out here being sugar babies. They're going to OnlyFans.
Same problem with oversaturation.
Yeah, exactly. So it'll get oversaturated. Now you kick the can down the road to what the next thing is. I don't see the women seeing that college is prohibitive to them jumping into traditional marriages. I don't see that trend.
But that was the same argument which made in the 90s to men, that they would not, that the trades were going by the wayside and they all needed to get a college degree, when in fact the opposite ended up happening. Now they're all moving towards trades in lieu of the college degree because of oversaturation.
Correct.
There's no reason for us to believe that if it's the case that women have the option and the propaganda behind it, for them to get married at a younger age, right? Defer that with incentives. We can give all sorts of incentives for this.
Would you give for this?
Oh man, first of all, you can give tax exemptions. For instance, you could say
these women don't pay taxes even when they make millions.
Yeah, but the thing that's
they don't catch up to them, but they don't pay the taxes.
They do have to pay property tax on the houses they get from their husbands when they divorce them. So
if they get married, then
the thing is what you could do is in Poland did this, and they had a pretty good degree of success, up almost 0.5%, moving and trending towards almost 1%, which is huge in such a short amount of time. They gave tax exemption, and you can pull this up if you want. They gave tax exemption if you had more than X number of children. I think it was 3 for life. Tax exempt for life.
Yes.
Now the thing is that's huge. Now, from a woman's perspective, why would a woman go for that? Because she's tax exempt for life too. And the thing is, it's the same reason they're going to college, which is they want the money. The same reason they're selling their pussy online, because I want the money, is also a thing which you can incentivize them to do the other direction.
You could.
Because
they
want the money.
It sounds nice, but...
And it's worked. It's worked.
It's worked in Poland.
Yeah. Well, in the places it's been tried, the incentives work.
Is that a comparable nation to the United States who highly depends on women being taxed?
Well, so did Poland.
It's not the same size.
Well, I mean,
we're a very large country. We're a very large country.
But it's all scalable, right?
It could be scalable.
It's all scalable. The thing
that's kind of like when people said Sweden did this, and you're talking about 1 million people versus 100 million people. I understand.
We're going to look at the models where they exist to see how they compare.
Yeah,
and it's a better model.
Yes, it's a good model. It would be a good start.
It's a start.
It would be a good start.
Something.
Could you think people would probably try to manipulate that? You said they have 3 kids from the same dad or from different daddies?
You have to be married.
You would have to be married. Mm-hmm. Okay, so this would be a nice opportunity for us to bring something that Poland has tried to a place where we don't have that same structure. They're somewhat democratic socialists.
No.
We're somewhat
not at all. They're very conservative.
They're
very
conservative,
capitalist.
but yeah, they have that, but they're also...
No, they're very capitalist.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but typically we're a lot more capitalist than them.
I don't know.
We're a lot more capitalist than Poland.
Like Eastern Europe has become very, very based. Eastern Europe has become very
but
based.
we can probably say 200, 350 million people versus Poland size.
It's much smaller, yes.
12 million.
But that's what scalability is for.
I mean, this would be the size, not even half of California at this particular point, but that you're scaling to.
Yeah, scalability works that way because
it could. It could.
38 million in Poland.
38 million, quite more than I thought. That would be the state of California and plus Oregon maybe or something like that.
Well, and California is bigger than a lot of countries.
It is.
That's the case.
Fifth largest GDP.
Yeah.
So in this scenario, I'll give you that one. It's a little bit of a reach, but I'll give it to you.
Not just that. If we look at the Chinese model, really fucked this up. They decided that they were going to do the one-child policy. Remember that?
And they screwed that up.
Well, not only did they screw it up, but they have almost given themselves imminent doom because their birth rate has dropped down so low. Now, what are they doing? They're giving incentives for women to have children.
Exactly.
Now, we do it here, too, to a limited degree
here
with tax credits, right? Mm-hmm. But the tax credits, you're not going to incentivize a woman who can sell her pussy on OnlyFans to have a child for $3,000 a year.
And sometimes they even go on EBT and WIC, and they still use the system. So you're still finding ways where people will manipulate the system. And we're seeing people that are massive manipulation.
Right?
We would try to get rid of it. It would be a nice try. I'll give you that one. That might be a ball.
No, it's possible. And more than possible. And it's better than the idea of just continual degeneracy.
Well, I'm not promoting degeneracy. However,
sex outside of marriage.
Well, who is that degenerate to? I mean, that's your Bible.
So
I mean, most of your Christians, your traditional. Hold on for a second. Most of your traditional Christian women that are getting married to these simps are blindsided, typically by women that were promiscuous.
Sounds like
normal.
Sounds like sex out of marriage is bad.
It sounds like it's really bad. But those are your women you're trying to marry, not the virgins that we're going to have.
You think that this is mitigated by you being a secularist versus a Christian? Give me a break.
I mean, you're not going to mitigate women throwing their pussy around the internet or around the world. You can hardly mitigate that. I mean, you haven't done anything at this particular point. They're busting it wide open on OnlyFans.
Yeah, we can put
these are the church women.
You can outlaw OnlyFans.
I mean, every one of your scenarios is a big major swing at they're not happening. All right, it's not happening.
Do you know that the
people
versus Larry Flint was not long ago when the normalization of the porn used to be outlawed. Okay, it used to be outlawed all over the United States, and guess what? The effects that it had on the psychology of men and the effects it had on marriage were negligible. You could still get it to some degree underground,
right?
But it was tough and it was illegal. Why do you think?
And people still went to the.
Why do you think
they went to that? I don't know if you remember this. If you're old enough, they still went to that VHS area or the area of the magazine.
That was after Larry Flint.
All right, but that was a result. That was kind of one of the things that they said.
After they legalized it. Before they legalized it, those sections didn't exist.
Exactly. So now it's wide and open. It's in the open.
Yeah. So we need to eliminate it. Yes, we
didn't eliminate Playboy and Penthouse.
That's after Larry Flint. Larry Flint was Penthouse.
I understand that, but it's still here. I mean,
yeah,
didn't
he
get
won
rid
the
of it.
case.
Correct.
But
so
we
there
can
you're,
we're
how you going to beat
unwinding.
OnlyFans?
We're unwinding and have been unwinding. That's
Again,
what Roe
you're
v.
trying
Wade
to-
was. The
right,
idea
you're
of Roe v. Wade was
By
to
the time
unwind.
you beat OnlyFans, the damage is done. I'm going to just let you know.
Yeah, you know what?
Right, the
That's-
damage is pretty
it's
much
really
done. That
funny.
would
It's
take
like,
30 or 40 years.
okay,
to
well,
defeat
after
that.
a war, the damage is done. It might take 30 or 40 years, but you know what? The thing is we don't quit because it might take some time.
I didn't ask you to quit. What I'm asking you is, you're trying to solve the problem today of getting traditional.
Both. Both.
Traditional.
Today, tomorrow.
I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow will be a better day. But at this point, you're looking at traditional conservative women that have thrown their punanis out. Some
Sure.
of them are single moms.
Well, they're not traditional.
All right.
But yeah.
Again, they're not. But this exists. And unfortunately, the traditional conservative movement or
And it's full of feminists,
these women,
I agree.
Yeah, these women come in as feminists,
Yep.
liberals, and they cosplay, trick these men into marriages, say that they're going to marry them, not in the secular, and then they follow you, and then they run right back to the court.
no,
Now,
the
this
opposite.
does happen quite a bit, even
Not
in the
from
Christian
us, no.
church.
Not from us.
Well, I don't know how many you are. We still haven't determined.
But the thing is funny.
This still happens. So a lot of men get caught off guard because they see her thumping the Bible. Oh, she's one of us. And these women have figured out how to cosplay.
And again, I think this is a good question, right? And notice I've answered all of yours. You haven't answered any of mine. But
which
the thing
one
is,
did I answer?
yeah, can I ask a couple?
Go ahead.
Okay, great. So the progressive mantra is that sexual liberation, this is what feminism was based around, was sexual liberation. That was the big one.
Correct.
That their bodies were being controlled, not just from abortion, but from who they chose to have sex with because they were attracted to them, this and that. Marriage was a complete trap for women. It was self-destructive to them, this and that. What is the distinction in your message in that one to men?
What's my message?
Well, it seems to me that your message is that marriage is simply too dangerous and that if you want to sleep with women outside of it, it's perfectly fine. And it's actually liberating for you because you're moving away from the trappings of marriage itself.
And it would be safer.
Hang on.
Yeah.
That seemed like the same exact message that we got in the 70s from feminists.
If you frame it that way, it would be. But
So you're a
there's two
feminist?
Hold on for a second. It would be two different outcomes. You're protecting wealth, access to children. You're actually being able to control who has your children.
That's
who
what they
doesn't.
wanted.
Exactly. Well, no, they want to be able to kill their children and abort them.
They wanted
all right?
to be able to determine what happened with their
We're trying to
children.
figure out where we have the control legally. They're having the control over their body. These are two different.
But
these are two different outcomes.
So what's the
legal
delineating
outcome
factor?
is what the men are trying to figure
from
out.
a 1970s feminist to your messaging right now? What is the difference?
They're trying to control their bodies.
So are you?
I'm trying to control legally, financially. These are two different things. These
Those are
two
your
different
body-
outcomes.
you're controlling your
No,
bodies.
don't just make it a body.
It's the
now.
same thing.
It's financial. These aren't not my
That's
body.
the same
All right,
arguments they
listen,
made. It's
listen, No,
financial.
you're trying to make it the same. I
It
know you're
is
trying
the
to.
same.
No. You're trying to cram that in. Oh, finances is your body. I'm trying to control the legal outcomes.
So were
related
they.
to that. Related to finances. Not related to me being liberated and sleep with who I want to. The first goal was to control what happens to me financially. It was never the goal for men to avoid marriage, to sleep around. That's the feminist goal. Those are two different things.
They make the
You're
same
trying to make
claim.
it-
They make the same claim. Their claim
never
is
was financially. It was
we're
to
not
sleep
telling
around.
women that they need to go sleep
Those
around.
are two different
We're not
things.
telling women they need to go sleep around. We're just telling them they can if they want to. Isn't that the same as your message?
If they want to, some men don't sleep around.
Yeah.
Some men
Same-
don't sleep around.
it's just
not the
feminism
same
for men,
thing.
dude.
No, that's what you want to call
And there's
it.
no
And that's a-
prescriptions. It's just feminism for men.
How's that not a prescription? I get to control who I'm with. I
Said the
get to
feminist.
control where the law is.
Said the
and hold on
feminist.
for a second. And I get to control where my finances are, not the state.
Said the feminist.
No,
The same things
That's
you were
not.
fighting
No.
for.
That's not. It's not the
We
women's
don't have a bank
finances.
account. We can't decide what to vote. We can't
That's
decide
a
what to do with our
second- that's a
children. We're
secondary-
men's property. It's
that's
the
a
same
secondary.
shit.
That's a secondary issue.
Oh,
that is
man.
a secondary issue.
It's the same
you tried
issue.
to compare it. You tried to compare it, and then say finances is body. I mean, come on.
That's
man.
what
I mean,
they were
you're really
fighting. They were fighting for
You're
the
really
same
trying
thing.
to cram this.
They were
in
like, we
to
want
fit
credit
your
cards.
narrative.
We want to be able to control
That's
our bank
nice.
accounts.
That's
We want to be
very
able to
much
control
a
our
secondary,
finance.
tertiary issue. We're talking about what you framed
It's
it
the
as.
primary issue.
The primary issue for me
you.
is finances. It's not to sleep around. All right,
Yeah.
that would be two different things.
But
I'm
if
not
it's-
maintaining my independence and staying single
But if
so
it's
I
the
can sleep
case-
around. That's not the primary
Yeah,
issue.
I understand,
It is
but-
for
but
finances.
if
So
it's-
those are two different
No,
arguments.
they're not. and
You
I'll
want to make it
explain-
the same for
Look,
you? Go ahead,
Let me give the explanation.
please.
If every single argument you make, even if you say these ones over here are tangential, but I agree with them, is the same exact argument of the 1970s bra-burning feminist, whether or not you're
That's what you believe.
Whether or not it's the primary goal.
Make it work for you.
Hang on, man.
Make it work for you.
Even if it's the case, it's not the primary goal, it's a secondary goal. They're still the same
You
goals.
framed it as the number one
Let me
goal.
at least make the argument
Please
before you
do.
respond.
Reach on in there, man.
So the thing is,
dig deep.
is if you say, hey, man,
Dig deep.
this is about financing. It's like, okay, well, you know, the 1970s feminists, we can't have credit cards. We can't control our bank accounts. We can't control our own financial independence from men. That's what they're fighting for. You want the same thing. Independence from women to control your own finances.
You were talking about promiscuity.
Almost done with the argument, then he can rebut it. Next thing is, when you're talking about promiscuity, sure, sleep with whoever you want, right? It's under your purview because you can do whatever you want with your body. Same exact argument that they were making. They're not the property of men, right? They should have complete sexual liberation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All of these are the same degenerate structured systems which led us to where we are currently right this second, except you're just providing them for men instead of women. It's like, can't we at least at some level look at this and say, look, just because these crazy women are doing these insane things, we can actually, as men, do something about this prescriptively without adding the degeneracy. Can't we do that?
Okay, let's go back.
Okay.
There's a such thing as, you might take a medication to solve one issue and you get side effects. You're telling me the side effects equals what the men wanted as to solve the problem to heal. That's the reason they took the medication. Now you're telling me about all these side effects. A side effect of feminism being able to control their body is to also have finances, blah, blah, blah. Same thing with the men. The men didn't intentionally go in there to say, this is for our bodies.
What?
We went in there to say this is to control our finances. Then as a result of that, there could be some other things that happen as a result.
Yeah, but if the results are the same as feminism, who
it's
cares?
not the same.
What's the difference
not
in
going to be the
results?
outcome because at that particular point, the man has controlled his finances. He's outside of the state system.
That's what
So
the
when she
feminists argued for themselves.
that's a completely different reason. You can have
Who
the same
cares if it's
outcome.
it's the same fucking outcome.
You can have the same outcome and it could be for different reasons. All right. You're saying an outcome pretty much says it's a reason. That's not true. You can have two different reasons and
great.
have similar outcomes.
So we have the same outcomes for 1970s
okay,
progressive
but that's not the
feminists
intent.
for men
So
because you intended it to be different.
But you wanted to
Great.
compare. You just simply wanted to compare it as the same.
It is
It's
the
not.
same.
It's apples and oranges. It's apples and
It's
oranges.
apples and oranges because
To
you didn't mean it that way. I didn't mean it that
No,
way,
you
even though
said-
that's the same result.
You framed it that way to
Because
fit your
it's the
narrative.
truth.
That's your narrative.
It's not my
That's
narrative.
your narrative.
You just
can-
agreed that what I
you
said is true.
I didn't agree with anything.
You did. You just said that's the same- it's the same
This is
comparable
the outcome. This
institution.
is the outcome. If I choose to do something for different outcomes, it's not the same.
just wild.
Just because certain things line up.
It's just
the way you
feminism.
want. And you're cherry picking, by the way, and you're very good at it. You're cherry picking
Oh,
the
okay,
good things,
cherry-picking.
the bad things, and then you want to reframe traditionalism and call up the traditional church. Well, the traditional church also had the Ku Klux Klan in the 1950s.
No, that was the
Is that what you want to do?
non-traditional.
Okay,
That's what Protestant churches.
Okay, well, it's the church. And
No,
at that
it's not the
particular
church.
point, if you want to go ahead and cherry pick what's good and what's
by the way,
bad,
they were
that's
Democrats.
a great snapshot.
Those were Democrats.
Exactly. And of course, they were Democrats.
And
certainly
not
what the
Republicans.
Republicans. Okay, well, now where are we at? There's going to be Democrats in your church? No Democrats.
Not
Okay,
usually.
so at
There are
this
some, of
particular-
course.
Of course there will be.
Yeah.
So there are going to be people that have
Yeah,
the
but what
same
does the
ideology.
KKK have to do with anything?
You're snapshotting traditional world that literally you can just pinpoint 10 years.
Yeah.
And if I go back 10 years before, it was 19
Yeah.
years later, it don't exist. Now you're trying to bring it back out
How
of
do
the
you
dead
know?
like you're Billy
What-
Graham. I know
This is
that
true.
doesn't exist.
What doesn't
It is
exist?
not the normal traditional church. You're killing people, but go ahead. Go ahead.
That accounts
Keep
for-
it going.
that accounts to-
All right, a lot of people killing
so
each
that
other, a lot
accounts
of
to about
divorce, and a lot of fornication.
About
Go
4 to
ahead.
6% of all wars were religiously based.
How much?
4 to 6%. You can look it up.
All right, I don't care what. That doesn't matter. They kill each other at massive rates. All right, listen. Religion is not the
4 to
answer.
6%.
You guys, you're
Hey, sorry, guys, not sure what happened there.
Feminism for men
I
is
didn't
the
say it
answer.
was. You didn't have to live degeneracy if you're non-religious. That's your world.
yeah, I
Again,
know.
you always make it fit what you want. To
Because
cherry
it does
pick.
fit. It is the
doesn't
truth.
fit.
That's what you guys advocate
You're
for.
only good if you're religious. That's ridiculous. All right, you only make good decisions because you're religious.
I think-
That's
it seems-
ridiculous. That's
it's-
what you hope.
Did I-
And that's not the case because a lot of people that are in your
Why do you say
hold on for a second.
only? Like, why do you say
Hold
only?
on.
When I talk about outcomes being better,
you just admitted that there are women that are feminists in your church.
Of course.
Okay, so there's your solution there. You're telling me it's always better.
It is always better.
Snapshot. What you're doing is selling men a fantasy of them,
and you're selling them feminism.
I'm not. Well, we can agree to disagree on that. But
Well,
you're selling them a fantasy.
Disagree, you're just selling them feminism.
And you're selling them a fantasy. All right, a
fantasy that I have data to support.
Matter of fact, most people will be dead by the time you get even 1 inch closer to whatever you're proposing.
Well,
most men will be dead as a doorknob.
Under your proposal, you have assured that black men will be dead. You said so yourself. There's no fixing it. They will be. That's your prescription.
Well, that's the prescription that you heard. What I told black men is to leave that community. The community is not to
Are
be
they
saved.
doomed or not, like you said?
The black men leave the community, they thrive.
Yeah, I know. Are they?
Yes.
Are black men doomed, like you said
The
earlier?
black
or
men
not?
that leave the community, thrive.
Yeah, I know.
They
But
do
are,
very well.
are black men doomed, like you said earlier? Or
Under
not?
the matriarchy of the black community, yes.
Okay.
Under the scenario that I'm proposing for black men, absolutely not. They thrive.
But that's in the future. What
But
about
that's
right now?
So that's
what about
no,
right
no.
this second?
They're thriving right now under your degeneracy model. Damn stream. But you're
Of what?
telling me
I gave you tons.
No, give me your numbers of your ecclesiastic marriage where your pastor on a little house on the prairie is going to prevent
Yeah,
them
we
from
would have
getting
to
legal.
move.
Give me them numbers.
Yes. Again.
Okay, you're asking me for
How
mine.
many times
gave
do
you
I have
one.
to explain this?
Come on, man.
So again, when you're talking about just because we don't have polling data for the United States specifically, we can definitely look at other nations where there's ecclesiastical marriages and the divorce rates. That's one. You can do it right now.
No.
The second is this.
You keep changing that. That's moving the goalpost.
Even if I grant that just because polling data for that specific thing doesn't exist right this second,
Okay.
the polling data for people who are engaged in state marriage is still lower. That makes my
that's
argument
great.
much more compelling
That's
than
great.
yours.
That's all fine and dandy when you're comparing 125 people to millions of people.
No, these
All
are
right,
millions
what
of
number-
people
What number,
in the state.
What's the number
Of
people
what?
that participate?
Of what? Which thing?
I keep asking you this. You never give me the
I've
number.
already
I
told you 50 times there's no polling data.
Exactly. You don't have a number.
But I do have numbers
It's a pie in the
of
sky.
people.
It's a fantasy.
Dude,
You've been selling people a fantasy.
do you realize that
I love it, though.
It
You know,
makes,
listen,
you make my point stronger, not worse.
A fantasy?
If it's the case that people are engaged in state marriage right this second and are part of traditional churches and their divorce rate is lower, it
That's
has
fine.
to logically follow that if they were not engaged in state marriage, the divorce rate would be even lower.
You're talking about getting hit over the head 30% to 50%. Okay, that's great.
It's
I'll
huge.
Give you that.
That's huge.
I'll give you that. That's the difference between 150,000 people. Yet you're telling me you have a better solution
No,
to
it's more than
mitigate that.
150,000.
Hold on. You're giving me a mitigating better than that 30%.
That's way more
what
than
you're saying.
150,000, dude.
Where's that solution for the better than the 30%? I've been asking for it. You can't tell me how many people that you got under these
but
notorious
there's no
contracts that don't
I
have
can
the state.
logically demonstrate it for you. There's no
I
polling
need you to
data
get
for
that
it. So
number.
what?
Get that number. That would be a great
When I
so
asked
you can
you-
tell the audience. Hold on
Yes.
for a second.
I'll tell
you can
them.
tell the audience
Okay.
how many people that you're going to prevent from busting out this ecclesiastic contract with your little house on the
It's not a
prairie,
contract.
whatever it is that you're doing. If you could tell your men how many people you have doing it and you prevented them from getting divorced and losing their kids under custody, please tell us.
Yeah, so
Otherwise, it's a fantasy.
let's respond again. Do you have the polling data for how many of the black men you've personally helped?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's see it.
Hundreds of thousands
Let's
right
see
now.
it. Let's
Hundreds
see
of
the polling
thousands.
data.
Hey, everybody in the chat.
Where's the polling
Press
data?
one. We're gonna do it right now live.
That's
We're gonna do it live.
scientific
Everybody
poll-
press one.
That's polling
if you're
data?
A Coach Greg Adams.
That's polling data.
If you follow me for the last,
You don't
8
have
years,
hundreds of thousands of
press
people in your
one.
chat, dude. Give me a break.
Press one if you can see it. Look. You see that?
Yeah, where's your
no, you don't want to
polling
look.
data?
You don't want to look. Look at this.
Where's the polling data?
Coach Gang represent.
Do you have
You see it
scientific
right here?
polling data?
That's more than your ecclesiastic contracts. I can
great.
guarantee you that.
Okay, everyone in
I
the
can-
Crucible chat who Andrew Wilson has helped, put one in the chat. That's scientific polling data,
Go
says
ahead,
Coach
go ahead.
whoever.
I know
it is.
you don't want to hear it. I thought you was gonna let it happen. Now all of a sudden you don't like the numbers. Come on, Andrew, man.
That's not
I thought
polling
were better.
data.
I thought we were better
That's
than
not
this.
polling data, doofus.
Okay,
What are you talking about?
You gonna call
That's
me a
not
doofus?
polling
Hey,
data.
were you gonna call me a doofus?
Yes, that's doofus shit.
Yo, man, that's crazy because I asked you for a number. And I'm the doofus. You can't even give me a number.
I gave
under
you
your
hard-
data.
dude.
Wait, where's your army at? What's
Yeah,
the name
pull
of
the
your
chat
group?
up.
What's
You
the name
want
of your group?
the Crucible chat.
The Crucible Army. Go ahead and pull them up. And tell them how many of them are under your ecclesiastic contract.
And let's make sure we got this straight. How many people are in his live chat right now?
He's got 2,060.
And see how many people are in mine.
Let's go. Pull it up. They should beat me in your ecclesiastic contract. They should floor us in the ecclesiastic contract.
Oh,
4,300.
That's like not even double.
Just one.
All right, we're both doing well.
Just one, please. Just one, please. And now that means I win.
Where they at?
That's
Where they
scientific
at?
polling
Oh,
data.
there's crickets over there. Okay.
Just ones. Just
There they
one.
go.
All I got to do is
There's the
ones, and that's
Crucible over
scientific
there.
data.
There's a couple of twos in there. I want the ecclesiastic contract marriages.
Oh, no.
That's what we're asking
You
for.
said, who have I helped?
Oh, wait a minute.
That's different.
No, you ask who, for me,
Yeah.
who's followed my prescription.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's not
who has
polling data, dude.
I ask you for the ecclesiastic
God.
contracts, Andrew. This is very simple.
What part of
This
we
is
don't
very-
have the polling data, but I
'Cause
can
you don't have the
logically
numbers.
demonstrate it? Do you
You
not
don't have the numbers.
understand?
You're selling a fantasy.
We do have the numbers.
You're selling a fantasy.
Oh my God, dude, this is
You're selling
so
a
low
fantasy to
tier.
men. And I think what you need to
It's
do
like
is
talking to a fucking wall.
And I hope that all those cancer sticks that you've been smoking will help your ass live long enough to see how far you led men astray. I would love that for you to survive, and I would bless you by the name of God in the Jesus Christ and Latter-day Saints that you survive all them goddamn smokes
You
you've
don't
been
follow
out here.
the Jesus Christ of Latter-day
all them
Saints.
smokes you have, so you can come out here and live and see how many men
Jesus
you've led
Christ of
astray.
Latter-day Saints. You follow Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Somebody does.
You
More
don't.
people than that.
Give me a
More
break.
people than the Crucible.
The
More
LDS.
people that you
are not in the LDS church,
hey,
dude.
More people
God.
than you have under your ecclesiastic contract. I can guarantee you that. All right.
All you have to do is agree to one proposition. Is it the case that you personally think
Not
that
today.
if there is no state contract, you're not win a
Easily.
state contract, your chances of getting divorced are going to decrease? Is that true or false?
If that's true, even if you don't get married, correct. Your chances of getting divorced goes to 0. Oh. And that's the same thing I said. Don't get married, you don't get divorced. The number one cause of divorce is marriage.
Not
Boy,
marriage,
it sounds like
a state contract.
no, the number one cause of divorce is marriage. Hey, Andrew, let's just say this, man. Listen.
I thought they could divorce you even if you weren't married to him 5 minutes ago.
No, you went through a ceremony. You went through a religious ceremony. So at that point, they can. But if I never went through a ceremony, they can't.
They can sue you for anything by your logic, whether you
No,
went
no,
through
no,
it or
no,
not.
no. Don't move the goalposts. I said you went through a ceremony. I didn't. All right, those are two different things, sir.
Which part of I don't really again I don't understand if it's the case that you
He's
say
scrambling and scraping for shit right
yeah,
now.
if it's the case that you say
He's
if
scrambling
you're
and scraping for shit right now.
If
Look
you're
at
married
him.
by the state,
Look at him scrambling and
yeah,
scraping.
if you're married by the state, if you're married by the state, your chances of marriage or divorce
But if you don't
increase.
get married, your chances of divorce is 0.
Yeah, okay. Wait a second. I'm sorry.
Your chances of if you don't
Except
get married,
unless you're
your
cohabitating,
chances
right?
of divorce is
Unless
0.
you're cohabitating?
Depends on where you live.
Yeah, so then it's not
That's common
0.
law. Not
so
in
you just
California.
lied. It's not
Not
0.
in California.
So then it's not 0.
What about if you don't cohabitate?
Yeah, again. So
Again.
now you're moving the goalposts.
No, most of the time. If you read my book, and I bet you can't read. Did you write a book? I'm pretty sure you didn't.
No.
I wrote a book.
My
that
wife wrote a
basically
book,
gave-
and I take all her money though.
Good. Well, that tells me the type of man you are. Holy mackerel! You're pimping your wife out now. What's
To
next?
write- to write books that I
What's
profit
next?
from?
If those, how many books that she sold? Now let me get back to this.
I'm pimping
Hold
her
on
out
for a
'cause she
second.
wrote a
Hold on for a
book?
second.
What the fuck?
My
What?
prescription for men is
My
no. Hold on for a second. No, no, no,
wife's
no.
about to write a book.
Yeah, well, I guess YouTube's going well if you're living off your wife's books. All right, what's her name so we can give her some shine to sell some books?
Oh, her name is Rachel Wilson, the author of Occult Feminism. I guarantee it sold more copies than yours, sir.
All right, we can look it up.
Let's
It's
look it
over
up.
that. Nah, we can look it up.
No, let's look it
now,
up
watch
right
this.
now.
Watch this. All right, go ahead.
I want to look it up right now. Now I just want to know.
Now, at this point, what have you done? You're living off the backs of your wife? Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
Is this traditional marriage?
Yes, absolutely.
Boy, oh boy, men have fallen. I'm going to tell you that.
Absolutely.
Men have fallen. It's a disgrace. All right.
Man.
You're living off of what? Is this traditional marriage, by the way?
Yes.
Your wife is in the traditional marriage and you're living off her finances? God damn. All right, boy. The Crucible is falling apart at this particular point, bursting open at the seams.
Yes, you got
Gentlemen,
me.
What's your book called?
Free Agent Lifestyle.
You got me, man.
Yeah, I did got you.
I take all. It's true. I take all of her money. It's true.
Well, that's what you said.
I mean, I do.
You said that.
I do.
I mean, I'm not saying something you didn't
all
say.
of it, and I spend it on guns.
Hey,
Every
traditional
dime.
marriage sounds great, guys. Traditional
How
marriage
does
sounds
that
great.
sound bad? Who would be upset by that? I take all of my wife's money and spend it on guns. He says traditional marriage sounds great,
That's
guys.
traditional marriage. That falls under traditional marriage?
Sure.
Oh, boy.
What's untraditional
All right,
about it?
That's a great traditional marriage.
It sounds like great traditional marriage to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can't find the numbers, honestly.
Oh, well, that's too bad.
This all happens. Shit happens. But, it's a bestseller, trust me. You should read it.
So is hers.
Yeah.
It's just sold
But
more.
what have you done?
It's just sold more.
But what have you done?
I take her money.
Zero. Exactly. Boy, I mean, you hear this?
Yeah.
This is the traditional patriarchy masculinity here, in live and in living color. But you can follow him. You can follow me.
I mean, your book is ranked higher on the charts and it has more ratings.
Oops.
Can't find the sales numbers on either.
The sales numbers are what matters.
Oh. Oh.
Let's see the numbers.
Oh.
Numbers?
Uh-oh.
Numbers?
Uh-oh.
Numbers?
Oops.
Numbers?
I'm higher ranked. More people have.
Let's see the numbers.
Come on, man. I don't know. I don't keep the data. I don't know what
You
happened.
don't know how many books you've sold?
Millions.
So millions of books. Give me a fucking break with this shit.
How many books you sold?
You haven't
Zero.
sold millions
You
of
sold
books.
zero
Now you're
goddamn
just
books.
lying and coping, dude.
You listen. I'm higher ranked.
Yeah, you sold millions of
Hey, but
books.
look at the numbers. The numbers don't lie, Mr. Numbers guy. I
Okay,
got higher
where's the
ranked.
numbers?
Higher ranked. More people
I wanna
have
know how many you've
look at the book.
sold.
More people have rated the book.
Yeah, and
Free Agent Lifestyle for life.
And guess what? You can definitely brigade
For
your own
life.
Amazon shit.
You challenged me.
Show me
You're
the
the one
numbers.
challenged me,
Where's
sir.
the numbers?
You sold zero goddamn
Numbers
books.
are
Man, what? You saw the numbers?
no,
He
I
pulled
didn't.
the numbers.
I asked you for the sales numbers. How
He
many have you
pulled
sold?
the numbers. Free Agent Lifestyle for life. Hey, everybody go out by the Free Agent Lifestyle.
Yeah, free
Hold
agent never he doesn't know how many you sold.
I'm higher ranked, man.
So
You
what?
seen it. I got more people. Look,
That doesn't mean
Shawn,
shit.
Shawn Michael. Hey, you see that? I'm higher ranked.
I'd imagine with the ranking algorithm, sales does play a factor.
Come on, man. We already know that. But
Yeah.
it is what it is.
What are
But
the numbers?
I don't know my numbers. My probably
I
better
know.
than hers, but I know it's better than yours.
That's true.
Right?
I've never
You
written a
got
book.
zero.
I just take the
you
I just take the author's
You come
money.
up with obvious solutions to scenarios that
And you have
anybody
none.
can
You just want
anybody can come up
feminism.
with. I don't have a solution. Free Agent Lifestyle is a solution.
That's not a solution to
It's
anything.
not. It sure
it's
is.
just degeneracy.
It's a solution that you don't like.
It's just go fuck chicks.
No, that's what you think. All right, it's a solution that you didn't.
How's it
even read
going to
the
help?
book.
How's it going to
How
help
did
with
you even-
abortion? How's it going to help with anything?
Well, that's what de-evolution is for. Read my book,
De-evolution?
De-evolution. Go ahead and pull that up. All right. I have
How
a
does
second book,
de-evolution help?
De-evolution. Go ahead and look.
How?
How about you read the book and then come back?
Just
You
tell
didn't do
me.
your research?
How does de-evolution help?
I
with
figured you
abortion?
were a better debater than this.
Can you
and be
answer
more
the question?
prepared. No, be more prepared next time because I don't have time.
You
for
can't
this,
answer
man.
any
Listen,
questions.
But I'm going to sell some books.
Just no
Free Agent
questions
Lifestyle
answered?
and De-Evolution. The link is in the description box below. All right. I did my work. I don't have to explain it. I wrote a book. Your job is to do the work. All right. And that's what we teach men to do. It's not about degeneracy. We teach men to do the work and not come up with pie in the sky
be
fantasies
feminist?
that don't work.
To be
All right.
feminist?
The Captain Obvious.
do you know it doesn't work?
Your solutions are very obvious. Control propaganda. All right. Jesus Christ, man. Look, anybody could
Here's
come
your
with that.
solution. Do whatever you want. Fuck
The
whoever.
free agent lifestyle. Yeah,
Fuck
baby.
whoever. Just fuck whoever. It's fine. We're not feminists, those guys, even though we have all feminist propositions.
I bet you your wife's body count's higher than yours.
Yeah, I bet your wife's
bet
body
your
count
wife-
was higher than yours,
No,
too.
no, I'm not married. I'm not married. And your wife, you living off of
Anymore.
her. I bet you her body count higher than yours.
You think so?
I know so.
Oh,
I
okay.
know
Just
so.
like you know your
And
numbers?
She's a traditional
Just
conservative.
like you know
I
your
know she
numbers
got
are
ran.
higher?
I know she'd got ran through more times in the
Gotcha.
Holland Tunnel.
So that's it. It's just now ad
Now we
hominem
just
about
ad
my wife.
hominems. Is that what we want to do?
That's where you went.
No, you
Did
brought
I say
her
a
up.
word
I didn't bring
about
up your wife.
Did I say a
I didn't
word
bring up your
about
wife.
your wife?
I don't got one.
Yeah, if you did, do you think I would have?
You brought her up.
I brought my. Did I attack her?
I didn't attack her.
You just said she had a high body count. You lying sack of shit. Show me the proof.
I don't have any proof.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
She's
just
a
making
hey,
shit up.
Traditional conservative
You
women.
lost the
Hey,
debate,
listen,
so you went
I didn't
ad
lose the
hom.
debate.
I don't even
You've been
care
losing
at
the
this
debate for a
point.
long time.
Your wife has a high body count.
Yo, I just got to say, this
does.
guy's a fucking
That's the
piece of
number.
shit.
Proof.
Like one of the worst,
Traditional
most bad
conservative
faith,
women
and most
have higher body
disingenuous
count.
debaters I've
It's not
ever
a trad con,
fucking
dude.
seen on the
You
show.
know what you're talking about.
Absolutely
She's not a trad con and
ridiculous.
you married her.
I'm not
She
a trad
feminist?
con. You didn't
Well,
do
what
your
are you?
homework.
What are you?
I'm a Christian ethicist.
A Christian ethicist.
Yes.
All right. Very good. All right. And
Very
you
good.
still don't know the numbers, how many people follow you.
Follow what?
Follow your prescription, your master solution. No numbers.
I literally have
But you're
given
asking
you
me about
number
numbers
after
and we pulled the
number
numbers.
after number
Oh,
of
my goodness.
the fact that the traditional
How many
churches'
men-
divorces are lower.
We got that. But how many men follow your
We don't know the
prescription?
polling
We
data.
don't know.
We don't need to.
But-
we know that even if they're with the state, it's still lower.
Coach gang, one in the chat. All right, Coach Gang. one in
What
the chat,
fucking
one
point does he
in the
think he's
chat.
proving here?
One in the chat.
Over and over again, he does this. Uses terms wrong, makes shit
you
up,
guys wanna call it?
lies,
Yep.
thinks that he this is
All right, guys,
worse than
check 'em out.
equivocation.
That was a fun debate. We'll let ChatGPT decide who won this thing. We'll
Let
throw in the
Chat
transcript in there,
GPT
link it in the
decide.
EA Sports.
Because you're gay.
That is without a doubt the dumbest thing I've ever heard. No offense, but you are a stupid asshole.